In order to train as hard as possible, you must retain a clear image of your purpose. Once your goal is sharply but realistically defined, all that remains is carrying out your plan. Don't, however, worry about your individual potential. Potential is only the expression of a possibility, something that can be assessed accurately only in retrospect. In other words, you'll never know how good you might have become unless you try.
So I'm going to look over the footage from the other day now and just see if there's anything that I can pick up on that I can like tighten up with my technique or that I can correct or anything like that. And this is pretty much how I like to refine my technique. I just like to watch clips and then pick up if there's anything that I want to look better, or I might compare it to somebody that I'm sort of watching at the moment who inspires me, and I'll work upon correcting that different thing, and then I will go for a little bit of a walk after and speak to you guys about some stuff that's on my mind. And then I'm going to go to the gym after and just work upon this stuff a little bit, and then we'll see how it goes from there. So the main thing I'm seeing on this stuff is I've got this tendency sometimes, yeah, like when I'm doing a hook on its own, my other hand is nice and high up at my chin here. But I've noticed sometimes when I do it from across, I tend to like rip the cross back and then it's not in the right position. Now I know that probably sounds kind of crazy and very autistic in terms of like my attention to detail, but this is basically how I like to refine stuff, you know? So I think I do it on this one. Yeah, like it's all right there, but like in this position, for instance, I would like it to be higher up and then it drops a bit. I think I do it more on the second one. Yeah, like this one was a lot worse. So it doesn't even come up to the chin. It's like it's still high, but like here, like this is like too low and here, and I would rather have it more like at the head kind of thing to protect the full face. There is another one, like that one was better. And like I said, when I do it from a hook on its own, it does tend to be better, but it's just like in combos sometimes. And something else, like on some of these, I tend to not bring it back to my face fast enough. Like from this cross, you see how I kind of like will drop it a little bit down here. This isn't good. I want to bring this back, kind of like a straight line. Like I always say, the punch should look like it's been rewound like that in a way, so it kind of comes straight back to the face. And like this is something a lot of people do, like even pros do it all the time, but it's about working at getting as close to perfection as you can, I guess you could say. I know that sounds kind of weird, but you've just got to try your best to refine it like this, and you should really pay attention to these like small details and stuff, and this is why it pays to really study your footage, I would say. Yeah, dropping it down there. Let me just have a look again on one of the normal crosses where if I'm just throwing a cross on its own, I probably don't do it because it's a single shot. This is where a lot of this stuff in combos kind of happens. So if I throw the normal cross, I slightly do it there, but it's not quite as bad. It's more, I don't know if it's like from the momentum of doing the 3 hits, the cross hook cross, that it happens, but that's another thing I would probably like to tighten up a bit. When you see it from the side, it just looks off. I don't know, I've just got a pretty decent eye for watching some of this stuff. So this hook here is a much better example of like how you want to have that hand up. So if you watch this hand here, like how it sort of stays in my face throughout the whole hook, and then it comes up and then stays there as well. Like I'm not pulling it too far back, because on the other ones I was like pulling it down here and it wasn't the best. So that's another thing that I'll fix. Boom. Bit swingy on them, but not too bad. Let me just see back here. There was, on some of these, I feel like I could rotate through the body a bit more on some of these longer combos. Yeah, on these, because the thing is with these ones as well, you don't want to like overcommit on each shot because it's a longer combo, and you don't want to like force yourself to be, you can like work against yourself and you have to kind of like reset. But I think on some of these, it would probably be better to, yeah, rotate slightly more through them and prioritize each shot a bit more rather than just like that one, or you know, like the end one, as we often tend to do. So there's a few things for me to kind of tighten up there that I've noticed. And this is, like I say, just how you want to refine your technique over time. I will, when I go train this stuff, I will just kind of do my normal training session, but I'll be mindful of this stuff to fix it, and I'll do some repetitions of like just that combo, or prioritize it in some of my rounds and stuff like that. So because the title of this video is likely to be something like "The Comfort Zone is where dreams go to die," I thought it'd be quite interesting to talk about this idea of like recontextualizing what we think is hard work. And this has been something for me that I've kind of had to contend with, and I've had some realizations with myself, because things like physicality, for instance, when we go to the gym, it's very easy to understand that we basically need that pain, you know, we need that struggle in order for it to be an effective workout for our muscles to grow and stuff like that. And because of that, we're able to accept that pain and kind of put up with it. You know, we get out of our comfort zone, and that's something that I would say the majority of people can understand. You know, there are some people that just don't work out and can't even face that. But then on the other hand, I think it's much harder to understand that type of stuff in terms of things that aren't so tangible, like perhaps sitting down to do some work. And this is something for me that has always been a bit of a challenge, I would say. You know, like sitting down to do some creative project, to do some work, especially when I'm planning, say, a new YouTube video, you know, and I'm sat down in front of a blank page wondering what it's going to be about. I've always found that quite challenging. And for the longest time, I always thought to myself, like, why is this so hard? And was thinking that there must be something kind of wrong with my process, or perhaps you're not aligned with this stuff, because I always pride myself on trying to do stuff that's really aligned with my values and that's authentic to me. And I wouldn't ever like to think I'm doing something that is like just to bring in an audience or something like that. And that made me think for the longest time, like, this isn't right, you're doing something wrong here and stuff like that. But then I had to think a little bit more about it and likened it a bit to the gym. And I was like, well, when we go to the gym, we understand that pain is absolutely necessary for us to grow. And we accept it. And we know that that's what we need to make our muscles grow bigger and stronger and adapt to that stress. And then I thought to myself, well, what if your work is just like that, you know? And what if that struggle that you face is you push into the edges of your comfort zone, and that's actually not something wrong, but rather something necessary in order to level up your mental muscles, you could say, to make you more capable of doing that thing again in the future. And this is the quite tricky thing with things like a comfort zone, because it doesn't display itself to you as, oh, I don't want to get out of my comfort zone. It will, like, your mind will play tricks on you, and it's very like, it will use your own logic and your own beliefs to sort of make you buy into its game, you could say. And you see how when I said about it was important for me to be authentic, my mind kind of like used that as a way to get me to, you know, try and get me to stay in that comfort zone. And that's what it will do. It's not just as blatantly obvious as we think. And I see so many people really stuck within these things, kind of like just believing their own bullshit, basically, because they're just buying into their own stories all the time, and they think, oh, it's different for me, you know, my story's different and stuff, when the only reason it's different is because it's unique to you and your own, like, neurotic patterns, you could say. But you've got to be like, you've got to become really aware of those, so your mind won't catch you out, because it'll do everything in its power in order to do that, and ultimately keep you in that comfort zone and keep you from progressing where you want to be. I see so many guys nowadays who, like, you can tell they want to be the hero of their own movie, you could say. They really want to be something, but they end up just like living vicariously through things like anime characters or other inspirational figures they see in, you know, on Instagram or something like that. And it's like, you see so many people like celebrating other people's wins. And I'm not saying that's bad inherently, of course it's not. But I mean, you know when it's like a bit too far and they're like so happy for the person, but you can tell they're not really doing anything themselves. Whenever I saw something inspirational, whether it was like a TV show or even something like in an anime or something, because I'm certainly not saying there's anything inherently wrong with any of these things at all. That always though made me want to go out and train and be that person myself. I couldn't understand like watching it and then just like sitting on your ass and not doing anything. It's like that stuff would charge me up and make me want to be like those people. And you see this so many times with like, you know, like sports stars and stuff like that, and people are so sort of supportive of these people, and you think like, imagine if you just put in even half of the effort and the kind of attention you give to some of these people into yourself where you could be. But you know, that just comes down to the question, I guess, of just, you know, people's like self-belief, self-esteem and stuff like that. But that again is only developed by continually pushing yourself to the edge of that comfort zone, like progressive overload. So I'm gonna head off to the gym in a minute. I just came in and filmed this before I went. So I think to close off, like, is just asking the question, why we even train in the first place? And this is something I've really pondered for like quite a long time, and quite a lot to be fair, because I'm quite a sort of introspective person. And the only thing that I can think of is just, it's in some type of pursuit of self-mastery, you know, in terms of like the physical, mental, spiritual, because all of these things are connected, but the physical is something we can control so strongly. I think it's quite like low-hanging fruit in that regard. Whenever you're going through difficult times, you know, things can seem a bit hopeless, or like you're not seeing the results of the things that you're doing quick enough, and you like feel like you're putting all this effort forth but nothing's happening. I've thought to myself, like, why in those moments, if you feel so hopeless like you say you are, why do you keep training? What is it that is spurring you on? And I don't know if like any of you can relate to this, but there's this still small voice within me that's like whispering for me to continue, and it almost feels like I'm kind of training to be ready for something. And I don't exactly know what that is, but I just feel intuitively that it's important for me to listen to that. You can tell it's the right thing to do by kind of how it makes you feel, I guess you could say. You know, you always feel better after doing a workout or after kind of like pushing yourself, even if you don't feel like you want to go at that moment. Yeah, I just think these things are like leading us somewhere, and it's important to listen to them and not always be so in our heads with everything, especially if you are somebody that's, I guess, quite a deep thinker like me. So yeah, I hope this helps, guys. I'm gonna, like I say, go gym now, and I am gonna probably film some of the session in case you guys are interested to see it as well. So the purpose of me coming to do these is I wanted to rep out these hooks, making sure I kept this hand high, because on those clips I noticed that after I threw the cross, I think from the retraction I was tending to pull it low, so I was kind of coming back like this. It wasn't quite as high. So this is the way I'll basically rep these things, is I'll just come and do a load of like mindful reps of it, making sure I'm doing the things that I want to with the technique, and this is mainly keeping this hand high. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that one today. Just a few little training tips and just showing you a bit of an insight into the way I like to work upon different things, my techniques and stuff, as well as a few thoughts of some stuff that was on my mind that I thought you guys would like to hear about and benefit from. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and please join my free Telegram group. There's loads of different insights and stuff on there that aren't really applicable to YouTube, just kind of off the cuff things, as well as a lot of different training tips and stuff like that. And I'll see you in the next video.